Welcome to Universal Man. My name is Mark Weppett, and I'm here to help you unleash your apex potential. And today I'm going to be sharing with you 3 keys for effortless activation. If you've ever struggled with procrastination, struggled with getting yourself to actually sit down and start your projects, start your tasks, well then this video is going to share 3 tips that are going to get you going, get you being productive, and out of that kind of stuck sort of rut. So if that sounds interesting to you, well then this video is for you. All right, my friends, before we get into the 3 keys here, I want to just kind of cover a overarching category of solution that I've talked already a bunch about on this channel, and this is your neurochemical health. If you're someone who is constantly bombarding yourself with massive levels of stimulation, like, high-speed internet porn, Netflix, video games, like constant internet surfing and memes, social media, that kind of stuff, if you're constantly blowing your brain out with that sort of stuff, well then it's just going to be hard to get yourself to do anything less stimulating. So one of the best things that you can do is go through a dopamine detox, or go through a porn reboot, or cut out video games for a while. And you can search my channel, or I'll put a link up here somewhere about some of my other videos that you can check out on this topic. But since I've talked about it a lot, I don't want to necessarily spend too much time on it here. In this video, I want to be talking about things that you can do that don't take a big, long 90-day chunk of detoxing your brain, that can help you start taking action more consistently and more easily. So our first key here is to have a good mental commercial. All right. You can think about your mind as constantly advertising activities to your emotional self. And depending upon what kind of commercial your brain plays determines what kind of emotions your primal emotional self produces, right? So for example, say it's time to work out and you're feeling resistance. You're like, I don't want to work out. Well, there's a good chance that there's a bad mental commercial being played. And often this kind of goes beneath the level of our conscious mind, and is just sort of running in the background. But if you tune into it, you can usually find it. So for example, say, it's time to work out and you don't want to do it, then your brain is probably just focusing on all the bad parts of working out. So it's like, well, one, you're gonna have to stop watching your show, and you kind of want to keep binging your show, right? It's going to be focusing on, you feel weak, you feel, unenergized, you feel lethargic. It's like, your gym clothes are dirty. If you go to the gym anyway, it's like you're gonna have to wear a stupid mask, and you're kind of out of shape, and you don't want that cute girl to, see you in your tight clothes that don't fit as well because your other clothes are dirty, and you just think about all these things that you don't like, and you feel crappy. And the whole process, that forms a commercial. And your emotional mind's like, yeah, hell no, I don't want to do that. You're going to have to get a, taser or cattle prod and force that part of you. You're going to have to use that white knuckle energy to force yourself along if that's the kind of commercial you're playing in your brain, right? So what we want to do is we want to play a better commercial. We want to give ourselves something better that will really kind of, make our emotional self more interested in the process. So, you want to focus on, you'll feel so much better after you're done. You're going to focus on, I want my body, to be, in shape, and I want to feel strong. I want to, look great in a bathing suit. You want to focus on the fact that, once you start working out, you actually really do like it. You do enjoy it. And your numbers have been going up in the gym because, you've been, lifting a little bit more frequently, or, anything. It's it's my opportunity to meet some new people. I've been, I see that one guy at the gym, and, I kind of like him. He's a cool dude. Maybe I'll see him there again. It's like these kinds of things, just giving yourself a better mental commercial does wonders for your capacity to motivate yourself. You just have to think about the things that you want. And, if there's nothing that you want, then why the hell are you doing the thing, right? You always have to have something that you want. Otherwise, you might be, a slave of some sort. And if that's the case, well, I don't know how you're watching this video. So take some ownership. And if you want to do something, then focus on the benefits and pitch it to yourself. Now, if you got limiting beliefs and thought processes and all kinds of stuff like that, it can get a little gummed up. And if you want help with that, then check out my Metascript method by clicking the link below. It's a journaling technique that'll help you kind of sort through all the BS in your mind and develop a lot of strong internal conditioning that helps you make good decisions in the moment. All right, so this brings us to key number 2 for effortless activation, and that is clarity. All right. Your brain craves clarity when it comes to activation. Like your emotional mind, it's kind of like a built-in wiring. All right. Like you're like putting it in a primitive scenario. Your brain is against the idea of you running full speed through dark woods at night. Okay, it just won't do it because it can't see what's out there. It doesn't know what's out there, right? It's dark. It's like you could run into a tree. You could trip over a root. You could, run into a predator. You could fly off a cliff. Or like, anything could happen because there's uncertainty involved, right? And the greater the level of uncertainty, the more just natural resistance that you're going to feel toward taking some kind of action, okay? And so because of this, you can almost break productivity into two broad categories. You've got decision-making and planning, and then the actual doing. And a lot of people like to skimp on the decision-making and planning. And the reason for this is, I think in part, because like we feel guilty taking time deciding stuff. We're taking time planning and thinking things over because our culture has such an emphasis on action. And in a way, that's really good because it's possible to overthink. It's possible to masturbatorily think. It's possible to just kind of overanalyze things from a place of perfectionism, and it's really actually just a way for you to kind of play it safe and not do anything because you're kind of scared or whatever. And we don't want to be doing that, but you do need to be deciding exactly what you want to do, when you want to do it, and how you want to do it. You got to map these things out so that your brain has a path to follow. And the more clear you are with all of that, then the easier it is to get yourself really going here. So if you accept that you deeply need clarity in order to be able to activate effectively and effortlessly, then the question becomes, how can I get that clarity? Well, the way you should be getting it is from your productivity system. All right. Today, productivity system to most people just means a system of organizing your to-do lists and tasks and projects and that sort of thing. And yes, a productivity system should do that. That should be actually a secondary purpose of the system. The main purpose of the system should be actually automating the decision-making processes so that you're constantly crystal clear on exactly what you're doing because you've done it. You've already decided. And then once you've decided and you've got it all laid out, you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing and when. It's just a matter of doing it, right? Problem is, I think most productivity systems out there today suck. The leading one, GTD, it's got some good ideas in it. Mostly, though, it's a confusing, overwhelming mess that most people cannot stick to at all. So I've developed my own system. I call it the SCOPE method. I'm actually running a workshop on that later this week for all the members of my elite tier Vanguard community. So if you're interested in learning the system that I've developed over a decade now of obsessing over these sorts of problems and figured out how I boiled it all down and you can, turn all this stuff into a productivity system that will hopefully dramatically enhance your ability to activate. I know it has for me and for the people I've taught it to. So you can just check that out by checking the link in the description for the Universal Man Vanguard. All right, so say you've got good mental commercials and you've got a productivity system in place that, lets you get clear. The final thing that I think is the most useful key for generating consistent activation, productive activation, is using a timer. A simple wristwatch will do. You can use a timer on your phone. A lot of times I literally just write down the start time that I do something and then the end time, and I track my time like that. But using a timer is super effective. And I think it's just kind of like a cognitive sort of trick because like one of the most rubber meets the road decisions required for, got deciding, got doing. Well, deciding when does it start? Now. Okay. How do you prove yourself that you've started the task? Well, the timer's running. I guess I'm doing it. I'm in it. Might as well keep going. If I do something else, well, that means that I'm wasting time. And like that whole thought process, it does wonders for people's ability to activate like nothing else. And I discovered this back when I first started working for myself. I could barely focus for like 45 minutes or an hour, when I was like 23 or something like that. And what I started doing was the Pomodoro technique, very popular technique where you do 25-minute chunks, take a 5-minute break, 25-minute chunk, 5-minute break, another 25-minute chunk. Then you can do like a 30-minute break or something like that. And you go at it like that and you hit these kind of little focus chunks. Like, now I do it much more flexibly. Sometimes I'll focus for anywhere between an hour to 3 hours, sometimes even 4 hours at a time. I kind of just let myself reach a breaking point naturally, like when I got to go to the bathroom or I'm going to get some food or something like that. And then I'll, rest as needed. And so it's okay to do it that way. You just have to track it. Just keep a timer going. And as long as you do that, and as long as you start the timer, and as long as you know what you're supposed to be doing in that time, you're going to be able to activate. And you can even get more, sophisticated with it by, setting goals with how much you want to, work each week. It can be tricky kind of finding that out, finding out, well, how many hours a day should you be working? How many hours per week should you be working? It can take a little while to fine tune that. Most people have a tendency to massively overshoot and overestimate how much they can work because they're used to kind of like fake working where it's like, yeah, I was at the library studying for 3 hours when in reality they studied for about like 45 minutes and spent like the other amount of time just surfing the internet. It's like until you really get used to tracking your time, it can be difficult to really nail that down and get it in a good place. And I actually just released a new course on the STACK method, which is my methodology for kind of habit tracking and habit setting so that you can kind of find your sweet spot it's like lets you optimize your maximal amount of effort without any risk of overloading yourself and kind of breaking yourself down. That's available to elite members as well. So, this whole video here, there's so much I can say about each one of these things. There's so much content I have out there on all this stuff, but these 3 pillars of, good mental commercials via self-talk, self-visualization, developing internal clarity, in your ability to, focus, just get pure blocks of focus time by using a timer, tracking your time, that sort of stuff. You can make it as simple or as complex as you want. Just the basic information available in this video, if you just start practicing it, you're going to improve. You're going to get more stuff done. If you want to take it further and you're just into this kind of stuff like, I am, well then, check out some of the things that I mentioned. But the big thing here is that I hope you guys got something valuable from this video. I hope that you can start taking more productive action. If you did, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of this. And, otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Ooh, yap.